everybody. Lacey BLAIR.
Hello. Applause. Yay.
God darn it. The crowd's rough tonight. We got a rough crowd tonight.
Wow.
Well,
they haven't had enough Red Bull.
I guess not yet. What's up with the Red Bull? Let's just start with that. Oh, can you start before we start, like with the Red Bull and kind of stuff? Can you give us your traditional introduction?
Yes. Why did I just forget it all of a sudden?
Please.
What's up, guys? It's Lacey and Rami.
There you go.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it.
The good old what's up, guys.
And that concludes our podcast for the day.
Thank you all for coming.
So how did we get on the Red Bull?
Oh.
Is that a long-winded answer?
Maybe not. So, well, it actually started out when I was learning how to polish, actually. So me and one of my friends, Garth, we were like up all night we were just learning, we were trying to get a job done. It was like a toolbox and a set of wheels or something. And we were pulling an all-nighter. And he comes in, he's like, got something that'll fix you up. And I hated Red Bull before that. And it was Red Bull. It was just, I told him to go to the gas station, get some drinks. He's like, this is what he came back with.
Was it the same for all the energy drinks, or was it specifically Red Bull you didn't like?
I specifically didn't like Red Bull. So he brought it. I drank the whole thing because I needed it. It was one of the big ones. And ever since then, I was hooked. And then I tried this one, the watermelon, and got extra hooked. And now I can't really drink the original ones anymore.
Oh, none of the other flavors. Like I know, like one of our girls, Sophie, she pushes that coconut one all the
yeah,
time.
see,
That's not it. Huh?
The new winter one is good. It's like pomegranate.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good.
Put that in mine. All right,
yeah.
Cool. And that's just a drink that you go to now.
Yeah, that's the go-to. I wake up thirsty for this. I am a coffee girl also. Pretty much anything caffeine, but this would be my choice.
So like even like the morning kick won't be a coffee and cream. It'll be a Red Bull.
Most of the time, yeah.
For convenience or flavor?
For flavor. Like if I'm thirsty, this is what I crave. Not even water, which is tragic, but...
Oh, so you're not a water drinker either?
I try to be, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But not so much.
So what happened to all the stepping? The last time we did a big rig show earlier in the year in August at the Waupun Truck Show.
Are you about to call me out on my
Lord knows you got enough of that at SEMA last week, man. Like whatever you were deficient in for the last couple of months, you sure made up for it, I think. For sure. We all did. Is that still a big part of your action? Where are you?
No. So I was doing the 75 hard challenge.
What does that mean?
Failed. So you work out twice a day for 45 minutes. One of them has to be outside. Read 10 pages a day. Drink a gallon of water a day. And take a 5-minute cold shower. And then follow some kind of diet, which I was doing calorie counting because I didn't want, I felt like that was sustainable. And on day 38, I fell asleep and forgot to read. And I was just traveling and really tired. And then it all was just downhill from there.
As it usually is, huh? God, 38 would have been 38 from that would have been close to That's probably during part of your crunch time, probably. I would imagine.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty close. Yeah. Like lifted truck nationals time, which it's hard to do when we were traveling. I mean, I would be working out at a truck stop. It's like if you have to be in the truck for 24 hours a day, do you sleep? Do you work out?
You do.
I was sticking to it.
Yeah. Do you get a chance to do any of the workouts at the gyms at the hotels or this
It's SEMA? Oh my God, no.
No. I mean any of the shows because you've been
at the shows, before then. It was miserable, but I did it anyways.
Yeah. I really used to be into that a lot. I mean
I want to try to do that while I'm here.
I just I just lost concentration. I just couldn't do it anymore. I was just on a plane every other week this year.
Yeah.
And after a while, you just I just didn't care anymore.
Well, it's between sleeping and recharging or putting your body through more. By the time
I got back, it's okay, I don't have time to work out because I got junk on my desk I got to take care of. And
that's pretty much the cycle.
Totally. Well, I'm going to go back in time to when I first met Lacey BLAIR. Such fond memories. It was SEMA 2018.
Yes.
And we had back at that time, we were still trying to figure out who we were. Mm-hmm. And we actually had our booth in the lower South Hall, in the wheel pavilion. We were trying at that time to cater to the wheel industry more. And so I was roaming around and I turned the corner and I'm just my jaw dropped. Wow. It was just incredible beauty. And then I looked over from the Escalade and I saw Lacey.
I knew that's what he was going to say. Oh my gosh.
So I introduced myself and you were very nice, very gracious, very friendly. And that was, that was
Wow, a
really,
lot has changed.
that was really awesome of you. So like you've been on our radar since then, really, but it took a little while. Obviously, there were a couple of plot twists along the way, shall we say?
Yes.
Both on your end and our end. But we're finally able to connect just about a year ago. Really, I think it was
almost exactly a year
yeah,
ago.
It was Myrtle
Beach
year.
Would be a year.
Myrtle
a year
last
anniversary.
year. You basically you came out with the first Renegade LB clip, and that
Big
was
surprise.
that was like a closely guarded secret of mine, dude. Like I didn't tell a damn person.
I know
what was
Athena
going
didn't even
on.
know.
I didn't know, but John, who like knows a lot of what's going on in my like behind the scenes, he told me his jaw dropped when he saw it. It's like
that
he
is
had
so
no
funny.
idea. That's because we had been working on it for like a long time, honestly. And it's like
going back and forth.
We started having a conversation really before COVID even started happening, and then I think when COVID hit, everything kind of like, what are we going to try to do? It's like but some of the things we were trying to work on, which we've been successful at, has been the show scene. And of course, when the show scene kind of went by the wayside during the first half of 2020, I think it kind of like stalled the conversation a little bit between you and I. But we sure made up for that.
Can you imagine if we had the mindset now that we did when show season was like non-existent?
Yeah, no kidding.
Because now we might cut back a little bit on that, right?
Right. Well, there's going to be a few, so I think we're going to have to make some definite decisions rolling into next year as far as what to do and where to go and how to take advantage of the whole world. I mean, why content? Why is content important to you? You tell us that.
Right. I feel like content is, well, it kind of circles back to I feel like SEMA is a good example. So you have SEMA, obviously, huge show, the biggest trade show in the automotive industry. Let's say there's no media surrounding SEMA at all. Then what value really is that besides just like business to business? Okay, we see the new products. That's great. But like what lives on past SEMA is the content, and that's essentially what reaches the consumer at like a much larger scale than like people just that are showing up at a show or something like that.
Yeah, I
feel
totally
like it's
agree.
more important.
I totally agree. And I've heard of people saying to me, well, we're not too unhappy that we're not going to SEMA this year. It was kind of a declining ROI for us over the years. We're not sure it's any value. And I think it's some of those people that really haven't adapted to kind of how the world's changed as far as social media and media marketing and influencer marketing and influencer collaboration. I think those people don't understand that you can still have a great trade show, but if you overlay that whole media experience on top of it, I think really amplifies it. And I think that's what we wanted to go into SEMA doing this year, and I think we
succeeded at that for sure. Because I mean, we could sit here. Let's say we decided we were going to do this podcast in front of we would shoot for like a room full of 1,000 people or something, or we could film it in an empty room and put it on social media for maybe 20,000 to see.
Sure,
it's like all what you make it. You don't always need the crowd in person. So
no.
So like at those shows, it's what you make out of it with the content that you get for sure.
What's wrong with my? What's wrong with the?
But that's like just the way. That's just the direction that the world is going. Like it makes you wonder if like trade shows like that will one day be obsolete. Like I think the business to business will always be a thing. But I mean, like we were just talking about with your products, business to business sales have changed.
Oh yeah.
Most is online. So who's to say that one day SEMA won't be an online experience or something like that? Like I feel like there's a lot of people in the industry, companies, or much like myself, an influencer or anything. Well, influencers get it, but a lot of companies will be left behind, not moving forward with the new way. That
totally, and I think now with the fine, absolutely incredible folks at Facebook, now that they've been out basically on this whole meta project, I think that's where it's going to end up going. I don't know if it's going to be the entire trade show going to virtual, but like I can see a day where LACEY's in Dallas putting on her goggles, and I'm in California putting on my goggles, and you've got an avatar, and I've got an avatar, and Kiana's got an avatar, and we're just in some mixed space in just the virtual world, looking at the brand new Bronco, for example.
Yeah.
That I don't think is too far from now.
No.
And I think that's where it's going. If like if the people like that don't, I think are falling behind, that aren't on that social media um, curve of understanding how social media works. I don't think those people won't really understand kind of like, well, why are we, why is it going towards the meta and the NFTs and all that kind of like digital world?
Right.
I remember a movie that came out, and I was like, when did the Avatar movie come out? Do you remember? Was it
It's
like
been
15,
a while.
like 15 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, that like basically is kind of where it's going. That really is what's going to end up happening. It's like you're an avatar, and Lacey, I'll see you, in this channel of whatever we're going to be doing.
Right. Well, when you think about it, that's kind of how we all live our life on our phones anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and people consume content, watch YouTube videos, things like that. They're living kind of in someone else's life, watching what they're doing.
When did you, as an influencer, if I can use that word for you, when did you realize that that was like the future? Like, what was there some threshold moment, or is there like, I mean, we all kind of hopped on, Instagram initially to show each other what we're eating for dinner or
Right.
dessert, and it definitely evolved into something much past that.
Yeah.
But like, at what point did you decide, like, wow, there's like, this is something that is going to be important for me as far as brand building and career?
So definitely the whole influencer thing with what I'm doing right now in the automotive industry was kind of just happened by chance. Like, started my Instagram, I think it's been 11 years ago now, and just posting just what I enjoy and what I love. And I would post my truck, doing burnouts, things like that, and found like that there's a community there, and then just kind of kept posting content and grew with that. But when I kind of understood more of like kind of the nitty gritty of it, and like that it can be an actual career, is actually when I did like an MLM company, which was the Monet hair care.
Mm-hmm.
So like we had trainings and things like that where people talked about just being present on, you don't have to ask for a sale, but being present on social media could lead to a sale, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's part of the branding
like just
process.
building the brand.
Yeah, totally.
So I feel like I owe a lot to that, giving me a better understanding.
So Monet basically opened up the, I guess, the idea of monetizing media. Is that maybe how you would say it?
Yes, for sure.
How long ago was that?
That was like 2018, 2017.
17, 18. So that's not really too long ago.
Yeah, no. Kind of around when we met was like kind of when I was phasing out of that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh,
but it definitely put a lot of things into perspective for me. And my following was growing before that. And I had worked with a couple companies in the automotive industry, but that kind of opened my eyes a lot more.
Were you a MySpace girl, or is that before your time?
I was on MySpace, but not. I was so young, I wasn't trying to do any influencing, really.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right. So you realize somewhere along the way that it's not just all about likes.
Yes, for
and
sure.
Unfortunately, a lot of people still think that it's just about the likes. What would you tell? I mean, a lot of ladies obviously look up to you, as they should, for mentorship and advice. And look what Lacey does, and you obviously and that's well deserved, in my opinion. Like, what is your advice to these, even the younger girls that are coming up? Like, what would you tell these young ladies on brand building and like chasing? What would you advise them?
I would definitely say the best advice I can give is to be 100% yourself, because that's when you're going to be the most relatable to people. And it doesn't matter if you have 50,000 followers that are just kind of like, oh, she has pretty pictures, I like her pictures. But if you have 50 followers that are genuinely like, wow, like I connect with this person, I relate with this person, like those are going to be your diehard followers that could turn into customers. So, from just an influencer standpoint, but even a business standpoint, like it's not all about the numbers, it's more quality over quantity.
Right.
For sure.
And would you say, and I try to give advice also, I'm not prejudicing your answer, but would you say also, some people just, especially because obviously Instagram in particular, social media in general, is really a very female dominated environment. I mean, the ladies are the ones that attract the followers, and have the influencer clout, if you want to call it that. But sometimes you look at, there's two things I think, that I feel the people do incorrectly on Instagram and social media is, one is obviously not posting enough. Because if you're going to take your job, your career as an influencer seriously, I mean, it is really it is a job, and you do it with incredible regularity. It's a diligent commitment to creating that media and getting that media up, whether it's on public media, private media. You're working your TikTok, you're working your Insta. I don't know. Do you do Snap? Where that's not like
no, I always try to, but
it
it always ends up phasing out.
I'm kind of surprised Snap is still a thing. To be honest with you,
it's definitely more private, I guess.
But there is definitely that lack of commitment sometimes, and that's what I really urge a lot of people that want to get into the influencer world. Like, well, how do you do it? Like, what form of self motivation or willpower do you personally use that makes you do that TikTok clip a couple of times a day and that Insta on the stories?
I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I don't want to. And I'm naturally an introvert. Would you guys think I'm naturally an introvert? Yeah. Do you think I'm naturally an introvert? Yes. Yes, you would? Oh, yeah. Then I've read myself right. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I would say that I'm being naturally an introvert. I have to be in the right headspace sometimes. And sometimes I do, every now and then I'm okay, I need a day to not post anything. But then sometimes, like I said, just if you're not having the best day, but you're just showing up as you, even just being hey, this is what I'm dealing with today, or I'm not having the best day, people will relate to that. You know what I mean? And posting, it doesn't always have to be perfect life or pretty picture. That in itself gets exhausting to try to portray that all the time.
Yeah, I think that was the second part of my comment. Basically, I think too many potential influencers, or even just people in general on the social media, they overly cultivate their media as opposed to just stay raw. And it's if it's just you having a good time eating tacos, great. If it's you don't have to be a model all the time. You don't have to put so much thought into your post that it has to look so incredibly impeccable and perfect that it because at the end of the day, I think people still make that mistake of chasing those likes. If my picture is beautiful and perfect and filtered and edited and whatever, I'm going to get 1 billion likes, and it becomes very discouraging and disappointing when it doesn't happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's happening less and less, especially with this, the algorithms that they're making us chase all the time. It's almost and I don't understand that. It's they're changing the rules all the time.
All the time. You got to work for it, for sure.
I mean, it's imagine being at a blackjack table and I said, oh, it's not, blackjack is not 21 anymore. It's 24 now.
Yeah, exactly.
Or it's 18 or whatever it is.
It's seriously, there's so much that goes into it.
Yeah, it's complete bullshit.
But then again, it's I say, it's a lot to study and look into, but some people won't post after 8 o'clock or something. And I'm one of those people, if I schedule posts we schedule posts as a team, on my business page, but on my personal page, I like it to be this is what I'm feeling right now. This is what I want to post.
You're just totally organic.
Totally organic. Just, if I'm thinking of it, if I'm feeling it, that's when I post. But I am not afraid to post at 1 a.m. And because I'm not thinking of those likes, you'll catch the night owls and then you'll catch people as soon as they wake up. But to me, it's more when I have, because like I said, sometimes it takes so much mental energy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's exhausting. It really is.
It really is. And it sounds so dumb because I'm always been the person I feel the best when I'm working with my hands. So it's been kind of a weird adjustment for me to think of that kind of stuff as work. So I get kind of down on myself thinking I'm not being productive even when I'm doing my job, which is media most of the time. So just if you're feeling post
I tell our team members all the time. It's just post it. Don't
just
worry.
Go for it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You don't have to have the right pose with the right booty angle and all that kind of stuff. Just post it and put it on your story, and and even TikTok is even that's even more exhausting. I mean, TikTok, if you are not on that thing 2-3 times a day,
you don't know what the trends are, all of these things.
Oh my
but
God,
TikTok is fun because it can be a little more informal, I think.
Yeah, you're right. I think it can be a little funner, but also it's trying to figure it out. It's also kind of difficult. Yeah, because I don't follow on the Renegade page, and Jordan helps me with the Renegade page, but I just use it as almost like a personal page. Honestly, it's just tough for a product, whether it's on Instagram or TikTok. It's just difficult for a product company
Yeah, well,
to, we're not a personality, we're a
Mhm.
product, so, but, like, obviously I'm following LACEY BLAIR on TikTok, and there'll be times where it's like, oh shit, I didn't see this. When did she post this?
Yeah.
It's like it just comes out of like nowhere sometimes.
Yeah, their algorithm is weird. It can make a video pop up from like 6 months ago.
Yeah, it's crazy. I
So
don't understand that.
it's really strange.
And what makes it even more difficult, getting back to the influencer part of it, is like, trying to ascertain and calculate an ROI on a relationship with somebody that's strictly a TikToker is really difficult. I mean, say
Yeah,
what you
that's
want to say about the Instagram folks, but at least there's some kind of measurable pattern there. You can see the pattern of likes, the pattern of comments,
Right, for
whether it's
sure.
trending up or trending down, that's a whole nother story, depending on algorithms. But like with TikTok, man, it's just all over
Out
the
of the blue.
place.
It can be a video that you put so much work and effort into
Yeah.
gets hardly anything, and then a simple
Totally. I mean, our
clip
biggest
of
one,
anything.
our biggest one is just a repost of somebody else's, which, what's it, like at 1.2 million or some shit like that?
Really? What is it?
It's just somebody polishing a fuel tank on a truck.
Crazy?
Doesn't mean it's like, but some of the stuff that, we've cultured and cultivated and spent time on
Like,
editing,
this is
it's
gonna
like,
do good.
oh, we're just gonna kill it.
Yeah.
400 likes.
Right.
I'm
telling you.
Who the heck knows, man?
It's weird.
Just,
for sure. It's good because I do feel like TikTok gives everyone a chance. It's a little more organic for like the smaller people starting out and things like that. Well, just like what Big John had one go viral.
Yeah. You just can't tell. Yeah.
You never know.
You just never freaking know. You never freaking know. So media is a big part of your action. And so you've decided sometime along the way, like, media is my future.
Yeah. Which is still weird to think about.
Yeah.
Because like I said, that's kind of not, it all happened by accident, really. But I'm definitely seeing that that's the smart way to go about things now. It's where the future is heading,
So as media is your future, and you're becoming more and more successful, and basically honing your skills in what you do, where do you take it from here? It's like, it's like, is media just for the sake of media? Is like, are you just going to always be a media personality?
I think so. Yeah. I'm sure it will evolve. Like, I would like to, when I get older, like, mentor people into that, and maybe, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's always someone that can relate. Let's say I'm 50 years old doing lifestyle content. There's going to be some people that can relate to that.
Sure.
Somewhere along the way.
No, totally.
So I think that anyone can do it if they like work hard at it and know their audience,
Yeah, no, totally. I know at one time you were talking about maybe putting together, and by this part can be edited out if you want, but you were talking about, I know at one time you were talking about putting together an ambassador program for LB.
Definitely.
What are you envisioning that to be? What does that look like?
So I want to have, I'm thinking like 10, and it can be male or female, whatever. And kind of maybe up and coming influencers. And we'll do like a PR package, maybe every quarter, once every other month, something like that. And do content with them, and maybe like get-togethers with those ambassadors.
So
and just kind of cross-promoting with them.
So these are going to be individuals that are inclined to understand what it is to be involved in social media, the commitment and the time necessary to be successful, falling under some kind of, would it be a mentorship program?
I think essentially it would kind of turn into that, don't you think?
Yeah.
And kind of, grow their following with us sharing them, but then them share our products also, and just kind of like everyone growing together.
So basically understanding the concept of collaboration.
Exactly.
Right. And I think that's really what, to me, also one of the important aspects of the LB Renegade dynamics has been the collaboration and the partnership and working forward. It's like, there are the old models of, basically what I call them pay for play, where, hey, we'll pay you for a post, or we'll pay you for a clip, or we'll pay you for an appearance or something like that. And there are still a lot of people that do that. I'm not disparaging. I'm not saying it's like an outdated model, but I just don't think it's a productive model.
Right.
I think it just ends up being very transactional. It leaves the person buying the media influence looking for, like, it's almost like an insatiable type of, like, you can't satisfy that need for the media, because there really isn't a way to measure how you've been satisfied from it. So
Right.
it's like if we were just buying media time from Lacey Blair, how do I know other than, okay, Lacey created a post or a story, or she appeared on our behalf at an event. Like, how do you measure that? It's
That's
like
smart.
it's very difficult. So like that's, we evolved past that. I think we did some of that back in 18 and a little bit into 19, but I think we kind of really mostly evolved and moved beyond that to create relationships with individuals like Lacey Blair that allow us to cross promote and to work on projects for the long term.
For sure.
Yeah, do you have your phone?
Somewhere over there. You want it?
Oh, damn it. She was asleep. I was going to take a picture.
Who's asleep?
I thought you were asleep. I thought you were like...
Oh, I'm like, who's asleep?
I was like,
I'm like, wow, we're
like
boring.
from
Did
my
she
angle, she
want-
was looking down. I couldn't see her hands. I thought she was like damn.
Oh my gosh.
That's so funny.
Like, she lucky.
But yeah, no. So for me, initially, when we were having our conversation, that's what was a little bit more appealing to Renegade. For appealing, that's why Renegade appealed to me more than some other companies, of course. Which is like, yes, products are great. I know that, but that's not enough for me. You know what I mean? So with Renegade, it's like it's an opportunity for us to collaborate together and share opportunities. Because I mean, there's still some companies that I'll do the transactional, like post for money kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when you have more of like a long-term partnership with a company, I just feel like it translates better to your followers and the consumer also.
Yeah,
it just seems more genuine.
Sure, and that's a good way of putting it. Oh, for us, it seems like if we have Lacey Blair endorsing our product, and she does it once or twice for monies, okay.
That's kind of like
okay, we understand. Right. We understand she's a paid endorser. People they're pretty savvy out there now.
Yeah, for sure.
But when people are seeing, just like we're doing right now, Lacey Blair, this is her, whatever, 4th or 5th trip to Renegade. And we do stuff all year long and we're shouting out each other all year long.
Right.
And it's like, okay, there's a genuine relationship there that transcends just, the basic economics of money. Sure. And that I think makes it more believable for both of us. You as basically, I like this product and I like this company, and that's why we do stuff together. And us saying, hey, we have somebody that we're working with that we consider an important part of our community that believes in us and believes in our product and how we go to market. So definitely it's a win. It's a win-win for sure. It's just trying to get the rest of the industry to understand that sometimes has been a challenge.
Right. I was going to say, you're really the only one that does 100% understand that.
And I don't understand why that's the case, because like we have tried, even with other, like even equipment manufacturers, never mind the influencers. We feel we can have these types of relationships with other people who make things that are part of our community and collaborate and work for the benefit of them, us, and everybody that satellites around us. But they just don't get it.
No,
they just do not get it. They think it's just still, let me put a post up once a day, schedule a post, and I have done my media job.
Right.
They just don't freaking get it. I don't understand it.
And it's wild that you would think a detailing company would be like leading that, you know what I mean? But
crazy.
Here we are.
I do have a quick question, which has it's a little off topic, if you don't mind.
Can't wait.
I know that I sent out, you probably, I think you were busy this past week, and so you probably didn't see my story, but a story I put it on, I said what questions do you want me to ask Lacey Blair?
Oh, did you post that?
And
did he post that? I didn't even see that.
The one question that I got, which is I got it so many times, and it goes back to LST of last year, which was
I feel like he's pulling my leg here.
Where did Zach and Lacey disappear to Friday?
Oh my gosh, you're so silly.
Oh my God.
You're so funny. That was Lifted Truck Nationals.
Oh, Lifted Truck. I keep
Lifted
saying
Truck
LACEY was
Nationals.
Lifted Truck Nationals. Yeah. It's like, just where did they disappear? To?
We
Everybody
just
wants
had good conversations.
where did they go? It's like,
Yeah.
like where did they go? Like, you know, and like I'm just like, where the fuck did they go?
Rami of all people would be like, where did they
Where
go?
did they go?
You would notice.
Like, you know why it was on my radar though?
Probably know why.
No, I'll tell you. I'll be
Oh, okay.
candid why. Because like, so and like if I say some stuff that we need to edit out, just don't
It's
worry
fine.
about it. We can edit it
My
out.
whole life's out on the internet.
So basically, no, it's not so much that. It's just like, you know, so I guess the short story is, if I can say it that way, is LACEY, BLAIR, and Renegade started having a dialogue probably in January of 2020.
Yes.
We're like, hey, you know what? It's, you know, we're interested. She's interested. We were trying to move it forward, and it just was taking a little bit of time. You know, you had somebody that was involved with you at that time trying to work the deal, and that was kind of the part I think when you talk about,
I said that wasn't working out.
It wasn't, but it's like it ended up being like going in a direction which was counterintuitive to what I wanted to do with you, and it became became a structured transactional deal.
Yeah.
And that's not really what I wanted to do with LACEY, BLAIR. I didn't want it to be like, you know, we're like counting posts and metrics and, you know, how many minutes are you at my booth or that kind of stuff.
And that's why my brain doesn't really work the best in those kind of agreements either. Like we've talked about, it's like if I feel the mutual appreciation, like I myself am more apt to do more.
Yeah,
like I just want like the relationship and the friendship kind of. Like
totally, but like we didn't know you as well as we do now.
Right,
obviously,
yeah,
and
exactly.
You had entrusted that negotiation to somebody else. And so like, okay, fine, I respect the chain of command, and you know, and we were just going back and forth, and we just couldn't really get to that, you know, and then of course the whole world fell apart like a month later.
Yeah.
So it just, you know, I was, you know, trying to, like, it wasn't really until we had some conversations on and off a little bit, a few DMs, that kind of stuff, like nothing really serious until Daytona.
Yeah.
And just by sheer happenstance, like we were just, you know, our booth was right here, and like you rolled in and you were right there, and I spent like probably all of Friday just like staring you down, you know. And it wasn't until we
working up the courage.
Yeah, working up the courage. Well, it wasn't working up the courage. It's like, God damn, I got to stand in line. It's like,
oh yeah, that's true. It was busy.
I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go over there, and it's like, you know, and I'm gonna tell this to the audience to tell you kind of what, like, I'm not here to fluff LACEY, BLAIR at all, but she's a very, very busy lady at that show because a lot of people want to see her, and I understand that. And I rolled over there, and I started talking to her, and like her back was to her vehicle, and my back was to this increasingly line of people that was starting to grow as I'm talking to her.
They're like, come on, man, hurry up.
Not once did she lose eye contact and look over my shoulder and say, hey, dude, get to the point.
I'm good at that.
Yeah, and I really respect it. It's like I felt like at that point, I was the most important person, you know, in the world right there talking to you because you gave me the attention. It's like, and that really kind of was that moment that I kind of like felt, okay, like I think I know who LACEY, BLAIR is now, as opposed to just the LACEY, BLAIR I see on Instagram or YouTube or something like that. There's like, I felt at that point, it's like, okay, yeah, it kind of, because like for me, it's like, okay, I was able to give you my pitch without you saying, dude, like, okay, fine, just get out of the way. I have more important people to see, which was probably true. Because I know SVT Barbie was standing there.
Obviously more important.
Yeah, definitely. So that's, you know, and then, so like that whole, you know, and it's like, I think did I make a breakthrough there? Because like, I felt like I made
Oh yeah, you did,
like,
honestly. I mean, I'm not going to give you all the credit, but yes, I think so.
All right. Like, so my charm worked a little bit that day. Okay.
For sure. And it was also just in the midst of my mindset changing a lot and maybe realizing that it was to be a good partnership.
Was it the combination heat stroke dehydration that
possibly, quite possibly. I think you offered me a donut.
We offered you water and donuts. That's
water
right,
and donuts. So that could have had something to do with it.
Actually, I think I sent Athena over there to bring you something.
Yeah, and then Athena with that booty.
So that selfishly rolling into Lifted Nationals,
Then I was on your mind.
Was like,
that was the
okay,
following week.
That was the following week. Thank you. And it's like,
Gosh,
for me, it's
that
like,
was a hectic
I want to
couple
do
weeks.
my follow up,
Mhm.
to like, but like, it's like, where'd you go?
Where'd she go?
Where'd you go? It's like, and like Zach, all of a sudden, like he's rolling over for our booth, like Zach, like, no, I didn't know Zach very well, but like he's all of a sudden he's hanging out at our booth at Daytona and hanging out at our booth at Lifted Nationals. I'm like, there's some shit going on here. Like, what?
But why was he hanging out with you guys?
Thank
Because
you.
I
It's like,
wasn't.
I'm trying to figure out why, and I didn't know who Hollis was. He and Hollis were walking around, like they stopped at our booth to chit chat.
They think they're cool.
And I'm like, are you guys lost? Like Lacey's booth is over there. Are you lost or something? Like that? But they're like stopping to chit chat, and then they stopped to chit chat over at at Lifted Nationals too. And I'm like, I kind of felt there was something going on. Had you talked to Zach at that time about it?
Yeah, we reconnected at Daytona.
Right, but you didn't mention anything of like what you're doing with Renegade potentially.
No.
So
that makes me wonder, was there an option number 2 at your booth maybe?
Oh. So the only person, like, so he was like, let's do the math here. Okay, let's kind of do Hollis and Zach were rolling around.
Oh, maybe it was Hollis and Athena?
Oh, you didn't hear from me. I didn't.
Oh, that was probably
no
it.
idea.
That was probably
I was like, wow.
My bad. My mind instantly goes to like
Zach being the wingman.
Yes, probably.
I got you. Okay.
Probably.
So, all right. So, like, and I was like, I should have just gone out of the way because, like, I felt they were there for me.
Oh my gosh.
But I guess not.
I guess not.
So, like, I was trying to track you down at Lifted. I'm like, okay.
I was at my booth. I was working my booth.
You were.
Until after hours.
Yeah, I know. But it's like, it's like, I couldn't get the right vibe. It's like, I'm just like, instinctually, I felt like, you know what? I just like, other than, I think maybe I might have said hello or rolled by and said something facetious because I was, in the golf cart or something like that. But I don't think, I wasn't feeling it. And I felt like, you know what? Maybe it's just not going to happen after all until, I think it was afterwards that I got a hold of you and I said, are we going to get fucking serious or like, what's the story? You can beep that, by the way. You can beep all the F words.
Oh, yes.
But if you keep going, keep it raw too.
You don't have to beep them.
You don't have to beep them.
Podcasts.
Yeah. We're just going to
get...
Yeah.
But I think it was like, and that was like, so that was the end of September. Yeah. Like third week of September, probably.
Then it was
we're reminiscing like a couple of old folks.
By October, we're like,
Like, I was like
7 years ago.
That was so nice, yeah. and Myrtle was November. November?
I think it was October.
Was it October?
Yes.
I can't remember.
Because I had like just moved to Texas and then immediately the next day drove to Myrtle Beach.
So like all this stuff started like...
All of this, the 2 most important men came into my life just right then and there in the same...
No, she's talking about Hollis and Zach.
Yeah, my boyfriend and my boyfriend's boyfriend.
There you go. And then she got Jay-Z too. That's like...
that's true.
Gift with purchase, basically.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't beat that. Yeah, so like, it's like, and I still like wasn't sure what was really going to happen until we got to Myrtle, to be honest with you. And
I guess I didn't
I don't want to
just like you were putting the ball in my court in a sense, though.
Yeah, because I don't want to push you.
Yeah.
So I don't want to push you. It's like, okay, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. If it's not, it's not. But,
I feel like we were committed at that point.
I think at that time you were like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And once I'm in,
That was cool. That was fun.
Yeah, good times.
That was a great show. I like that. Not only because of the actual, LACEY BLAIR connection finally becoming, a reality after 3 years.
Now you can just retire.
2 years, yeah. Now. But also because that was one of the few shows that I didn't have a booth.
Yeah, so that was nice.
I just rolled in with Athena and Jula, and we just took a bunch of pictures and a bunch of clips and just horsed around all day, and it was just the best.
Yeah. How do you feel like that was as far as, like, do you feel like you had a better return on investment with something like that opposed to having a booth?
Yes and no, but I think in general, yes, because, at the end of the day, it's difficult for us the way we do things as a products company. It's difficult for us to ever really roll. We can't really roll into a show and ever sell enough bottles to get an ROI. I mean, for us, it's not really about selling stuff anyway. It's about outreach and branding and networking and, you know, backslapping, shaking, that kind of stuff. And I was able to do that, like, you know, just at free will. I mean, we just I'd stop and talk to somebody for what would normally be in my attention deficit disorder world. Look, I'm going on like 3 minutes with you, so that's like a little too much. I gotta move on. Whereas like I felt I wasn't tied down. I can just like, you know,
that's probably nice.
you know, and it was a smaller show, and you know, it was just easygoing. I like the fact that they'll do it again here this weekend.
I was gonna say that's actually it'd be like a year this weekend. Look at us spending our year anniversary together.
So it's like it was just a really kind of like one of those, like, you think back to some events. It's like that was like one of those events, like almost like, wow, it's like I really
it was like an enjoyable
it
wasn't
really,
too hectic.
It wasn't hectic. It was fun. It was just easygoing. You were there. We were having a good time with you, and I know you were working with, I forgot the name of the company.
Tesla Audio.
Yeah,
it was just by chance. I was working there, and then I had my truck in the Fury booth,
which means, and that allowed us to just kind of like do some horseplay with you, just kind of like stop in and say hi and just So I like that scene a lot. That was really a lot of fun. I think I'm gonna try to maybe do that again next year a few times. Maybe not so much rely on a physical presence as opposed to a media presence. I think really that
just maybe fly in.
That might make more sense collectively for the team than
trying to do booth.
Yeah, totally. Because again, you know, we're not there to sell bottles of product, but we are there for the branding. And I think I can get that branding done with my team by just canvassing the show
and just coming to the show. And I feel like you have enough girls now that strongly represent where people see them and they know they're with Renegade, that just them doing content and things like that, or interviews, even such like you did at SEMA, I think would go over really well.
I think that's a good format too, where we can just roll around and do some interviews and so forth.
Woo! I need to wake up. I feel like my eyes look dead.
What you got any topics you want me to cover for you, Lacey? You want to just bring up anything? I don't think I know the hostel stories. That's something we can bring up or leave it. What's your take?
Yeah, well, it's kind of, I guess, weird now because I'm talking about maybe partnering with another wheel company, like more formally. But Hostel was actually the first company. Like I was actually on their payroll as an influencer, and they were one of the first ones that I'm like, okay, this whole. It was actually like a brand ambassador, like the Hostel girl.
So I'll have to give some props, I guess, to Hostel that they actually saw, saw that,
for sure. And I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, and for those, I don't know, obviously you know Kiana, but I don't think you know Jordan. But that's where I met Lacey in 2018. Her Escalade was in the Hostel booth.
Yeah.
Hostel or Hostile? Hostel.
Yeah.
Hostel booth. So I have to say props to them, obviously, for recognizing you at that time when it was kind of like at the start of your maybe the start of, not the start of your social media career, but definitely at the start of the growth of it, maybe.
Right. Definitely.
But how did they not hold on to you? Because you were there at 18 at SEMA, and then you were at 19 at Daytona.
I worked the whole next year with them at shows.
Oh, the whole next year.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, for the most part. It got to be where, you know kind of how it is, because I know you've had girls that have contracts with tire or wheel companies. They wanted me to be 100% exclusive, so it was hard to mention or even feature other builds and brands in my vlogs and things like that. That's
real restricting.
Yeah. So as I furthered my career into creating content and everything, it was almost kind of like a mutual thing where we were I don't know if this is going to be the best thing. You know what I mean? And then especially when I went to go work in Utah, it was I'm going to be around so many other wheel companies. And even then, my shop in Missouri, I was so how is this going to work? There was a couple things just disagreements where, I'd have a customer's truck. Obviously, I'm going to market that because that's our work, but it was on American Forces or something.
Right.
And that kind of served as a problem. And so we just kind of thought it was best to part ways. But I appreciate them. And I don't think they have an influencer that works with them, but I
don't sense that. Yeah,
I feel that was good. That was good marketing on their part. If they could find someone else, I think that would be great.
Awesome. Yeah, somebody who.
It's a good brand. Like, I love their wheels for
I love
sure.
I like their logo.
Their logo. I'm
logo's
telling you, I was always like, I want to do. That was like really. That was one of the first times I was ever thinking about like selling apparel because everyone always wanted. We would make just hostile shirts, kind of like I do with Renegade, just to have something extra like to wear to shows and stuff, and people would want to buy them. And I was always like, we should do this, like make this a apparel company too. And they were just never really for it, but. Then later on, now I have my own.
There you go.
It all falls into place.
So speaking about the apparel brand, so you have like, what did you do again for the audience? There was LB Co.
Yes.
And now that's LB Motorsports.
So it started out as LB Motorsports.
It started off as LB Motorsports.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the whole way, or the way the apparel brand came about is basically, so LB Motorsports was the name of my shop in Missouri, and we had just our shop shirts with the logo, and Keg Media actually designed the logo. So they designed it just strictly for my shop.
Side note to everybody, I remember the post that Keg put up of they designed the LB logo.
And everyone was like, what the hell?
And it's not
Everyone's
so much
like,
what the hell.
Like, what's going on?
It's like, oh, okay. And I had a relationship with Robbie. I'm like, well, okay, so like LACEY got her stuff done by Robbie. That means LACEY should be my person.
Oh, so you had that thought then?
Yeah.
Would you look at that?
Yeah.
Wow.
That was my thought.
It was premeditated.
And I did send actually to the LB DM. I sent a DM.
Slid in the DMs.
Yeah. That's where it ended though.
Set in the request. But yeah, so it started out just obviously the shop logo was on our shirts and people were like, oh, I want one of those shirts. So I would do maybe like 100 shirts every couple months, just get a batch in and they sold really quickly. And then I kind of was like, I'm just going to see if setting up a Shopify is easy enough. And apparently it was easy enough because I got it all up and running. And then I just kind of got creative with designing some more things and it just kind of snowballed from there. And
so it went from LB Motorsports to LB Co. and back to LB Motorsports. Yeah,
so when I made it LACEY BLAIR Co., I had thought of the Badass Women Sport Badass Women design. And that was kind of outside of the automotive realm. So I wanted to make it a little more broad. And actually one of my friends was like, you should name it LACEY BLAIR something. I didn't really like that because I feel like it's weird to just, it feels like very conceited to just have it as my name. But then he's like, well, people wear Louis Vuitton or like Tommy Hilfiger or something like that. So I'm like, okay, maybe it is a good idea. So to make it more broad, I did that. But now I actually have another line just for the Badass Women Sport Badass Women stuff. So change it back to LB Motorsports. So we're all like automotive.
Right. So the other line is called?
LB, but it's ELLEVE.
Oh, you tricky.
I know.
So,
but saying it out loud, they sound the same, which I didn't think that through. But it's Badass Women Sport BadassWomen.com.
So how do you decide what goes in what line?
So anything automotive based will be the LB Motorsports. So anything like with this logo or any of our like truck stickers, T-shirts, things like that. And then the other line is all women's apparel, more like athleisure kind of stuff. And then anything that says the Badass Women Sport Badass Women on it.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. All right. So what would be your advice to the up and comers as far as like brand building? How I mean, is that like, should they do it? Should they not? It's like, obviously it's obvious, you know, it's like, it definitely requires attention and hard work. But
like as far as having their own brand, I feel like you definitely want to work on building your social media first, don't you think? And then kind of coming out with something like that.
Great. So I think it's basically circling
because you
back
are
around.
Your brand,
right? So circling back around, essentially, if you do not have the commitment to your social media, chances are you're not going to be successful at marketing your brand,
right? Because
that's where your marketing is through your social media.
Because a lot of people will ask me, you know, what tips do you have on starting an apparel company? And I'm like, so somewhere along the line, the best way to market it is to utilize influencer marketing. So that's either going to be you or you're going to have to pay other people to market your brand. But the easiest, it's not easy, but the most no-brainer thing to do in my eyes is to build your own social media so that you're the one promoting your own brand.
You're the one, you're the influencer influencing on your behalf. Totally.
Seems smart.
And that gets back again to commitment, you know.
For sure. And it's a lot of commitment, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that's where a lot of them really kind of like, like I try to tell, a lot of people that talk to me, it's like, yeah, it's just like, stay on your media.
For
You're gonna
sure.
need it. You're gonna need it.
And
Post.
you think of like humans, like our nature, we like consistency. Like if you think of any, like if you and your wife weren't consistently, like if she every other week was just like, I don't really know if I want to do this, you would be like red flag, red flag. So I feel like people see that through social media also. If they have a content creator that they really like and then all of a sudden it's not consistent, it just doesn't resonate well with them, I think.
As far as the Lacey Blair, your account, your personal account, which is where most of your followers are, are you just like posting whatever? Do you care? I'm not that you don't care, but like, do you feel like, hey, I'm just gonna like, it's like posting something better than posting nothing?
What do you mean by that?
Like if like you just
I
like,
need to post today. Actually, now that
yeah, but like,
it's like, hard when you're like busy like this.
Yeah, no, I know. But
I've done
it's
stories
like,
today, but
yeah, but is it like it's like are you necessarily worried about not as much a pattern, but are you necessarily worried about the sheer quality of the content? Does it have to be a 10 every single time?
No.
Are you good at posting up? This is a 5.
Yeah, I'm good with that because sometimes I feel like that's the realness of it too, but also like you just have to post it. You just have to put yourself out there. And different people are going to connect to different pieces of content. Some people really like Kiana, she takes amazing pictures, but if my whole feed was just professional pictures, people aren't going to feel as related to me. I feel like, sometimes just a cell phone picture of that's not the best quality at all can get more likes just because it might be a little more relatable.
Right.
So I try to have a variety. The one thing that I will say I don't necessarily plan out, but I try to look at my feed and make myself conscious of is I don't want to look too like modelly and I don't want to look too like blue collar either. So I try to keep like a good mixture.
So you blend them both together.
Yeah, blend them both
together. And I think that's really it's the appealing part. Like we are looking for on our end of it, influencers to work with. I try to look for people, ladies that have just that. I'm not really interested in just strictly models, because I feel that again my demographics are typically middle Americans, and they would prefer to be able to relate to somebody. As opposed to like, I can't relate to this model that just looks fantastic every single time she's putting up a post versus somebody who's got sometimes, dirt on her face or dirt on her fingernails or, that kind of stuff. And I think that's what's appealing is like, ladies that have, of course, look fantastic, but also like they have a trade, they have a profession. There's something beyond just like, a great picture that's on Instagram.
For sure.
And I think that really is what makes it resonate with the audience. I thought what makes you what's your demo like? Are you is it like most of your followers men, or do you still also have a larger percentage? I sense you have a lot. It's compared to most other influencers, like maybe a higher percentage of women too.
So I only have a little over 20% women, but the women I do have are loyal as hell.
Yeah, so even at 20%, that's pretty good.
For the industry that we're in, most definitely. Yeah. But it's like it makes from the engagement that I get, it almost seems like my statistics should show more women than men because they're the ones that are commenting and they're the ones that I've developed relationships with, I feel like. And a lot of them have even been on my page for years, like from when I was doing hair. And maybe the automotive industry isn't really their thing, but they've just stuck with it to, see the journey or get inspired by something, like just someone out there following their dreams.
So speaking of the hairs, I just like completely off the table as far as like
I don't know.
Medium getting
permed JC's mullet the other day.
Get out! Is that right?
At the kitchen table on TikTok Live.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I still got it.
Freaking TikTok! Did you post that yet?
It was on TikTok Live. I have some clips I need to clip together though.
Yeah, no.
It turned out good. Yeah. It turned out really good. And I enjoy it. Like I do enjoy stuff like that. And I used to cut the boys' hair, but they have a barber now that is way better than I ever could. But I mean, right now, how it got to be really hard is that it's just a totally opposite field. Like even when I used to do hair and like work in the shop and do bed liners or polishing in the same day, I mean, it's a totally different set of clothes. It's not like you can go from, and I always liked to look nice when I was doing hair.
Yeah.
And so you could not really go from like working in the shop to doing hair that easily.
Right.
And even content wise, it's just totally different and totally different audiences. So right now I don't really feel like it fits into my life or would I really have time for it. But who's to say down the line, maybe not. And maybe just owning a salon again, just because I do really like the business aspect.
You do like that part
of that.
Yeah.
So I could see that happening one day. Maybe like a shop vibe barbershop or something. Cool. You never know.
Check your tires and get your hair done.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, so like, what are you doing next year? What's 2022 look like for you? What's going down for you?
So I'm gonna be racing.
Wow.
Diesel drag racing. So that's like probably the biggest change for sure. And then I hope that maybe we can get some of the girls, the Renegade girls, out to an event or something.
So
Do some
how
fun
did
stuff.
how did the drag racing come into this?
So really that's kind of, I guess like diesel performance and everything has kind of been what I was originally interested in. Somehow I got into the show truck industry, which is less fun in my opinion.
Really?
Don't you think? Because we're all just sitting there like, man, those are some nice wheels, opposed to like tearing shit up
Was
and
that your
having fun.
Missouri accent, or was that?
I don't know.
Oh.
But so in Missouri, I would always, as a kid, go to like diesel drags, truck pulls, things like that, and it was on like a smaller level,
So
like
you're
amateur
thinking
level.
basically the diesel world.
Diesel
There's actually more activity. There's like
Yes.
something is going on as opposed to a static environment
Exactly.
of parking, a vehicle and saying, here we are.
Yeah. And I've always wanted to put more like motorsports behind the LB motorsports. So now, and I just want to drive and do something competitive and fun. So it's literally always been a dream to do that. I've just never really thought I could afford it.
So is that so when's your first race?
I don't know yet. So let's see. Battle of the Alamo, that's pretty close to now. Isn't it December 11th or something like that? So, I'm going to do the burnout contest there. So that'll kind of be like the debut. It's obviously not a race, but it will do some really good burnouts. So we're going to do that. And then that whole week, one of our friends is coming from Utah and he builds race trucks and races himself. So he's going to kind of, because I've never driven it. I haven't driven it yet. And I've never driven anything that fast.
So I think what the audience wants to know is, do you need a license to drive that?
No, that's the loophole. That's the loophole. So that's going to also satisfy my itch to drive a little bit, because you don't need a license on the track as long as you're not like
you have found
NHRA.
a loophole in the system.
Yes.
Check you out. Huh?
And I can drive fast.
You can drive fast
legally
without a driver's license.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like heaven for someone like you, huh?
So here I am.
Boy, that's just the best of all worlds right there. No wonder. So it really wasn't like necessarily something you wanted to do. It's just like that's what's just left to do.
That's actually just what's left to do. Exactly. That's all I can do. So here we are. But yeah, I'm excited about that. So.
All right.
So probably a little less lifted truck shows and more racing events. But I'm excited.
So we're gonna see the burnout. You're gonna see the burnout at the Alamo. So make sure you're there.
And I love burnouts. I can't freaking wait.
December 10, 11, and 12. In just outside of San Antonio, watching LACEY BLAIR burn out.
Yes, and we'll also be getting more into side by side stuff also.
Hey, so we were talking actually internally in here about how do you recommend that? Paychecks for Rednecks? What's your take on that?
So I don't recommend it on like Saturday or Sunday. It's a little too rowdy. Do you mean like as like a company?
Is that like a vendor environment, or how about a content environment?
Could be a content environment. I would recommend going like Wednesday and Thursday before it gets really wild. So we went. So I think the next event is in March, but we went at this past event, and we literally strictly just went to get content of mudding the Hummer and putting the Razor to work. And we pretty much, there wasn't too many people where we couldn't get what we needed to get done. So we got the content, we had fun, and then we went home that same night before 10, before it got too rowdy.
Also just in and out, basically. Just got your content done. And that's just
perfect. That was enough for us, because people started drinking a lot and getting kind of crazy. So it's more like a day in, day out kind of thing. It's
all about the content.
Yeah, it's all about that. So that's literally strictly what we went for. I think we accomplished
We're
that.
going to be taking you to a couple of more big rig shows next year.
I'm
You
so
all ready
down.
for that?
Yeah, I'm excited.
For those of you that don't know, our first big rig show, our version of SEMA for the big rig world, and big rigs are still a really big part of what we do, is the Mid-America Trucking Show, which takes place in Kentucky at the end of March. So
Excited.
it's going to be it's a trade show, but also there's a beauty pageant for some of the most incredible show trucks
That's awesome.
that you will see, and it's actually a very structured show. I mean, it's like real. I mean, the truckers will show up on Saturday or Sunday or Monday, and they will spend just the rest of the week like cleaning, getting it ready for like white glove inspection at Rags Down.
Wild.
So that's going to be really a cool scene. Looking forward to getting you in on that and just blending you into that scene as well, because I think you'll do. I mean, there just aren't a lot of people like you out there, and I think understanding media and understanding branding and what goes around all of that into the big rig world, I think that would really be exciting for me to get you into that. I'm really
for sure, and I love big rigs, so
yeah, totally.
I'm kind of into all of it, anything automotive.
Anything.
Like I'm excited this next year to kind of tap into, get out of our norm. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and tap into
sure.
some different markets and have some fun.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd love to build a Peterbilt one day.
So
that would be that's the gateway.
Fantastic. Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
And this is again for the people that you're going to be mentoring, or the people that are watching that want to become, that want to be like you, is to understand that, once you understand social media and content creation and content management and influencer management, like, really, it's like you can really go anywhere and do anything with it. It's really, it's like,
for sure.
You may have started off essentially just in maybe the lifted or diesel scene, but your abilities to transcend that and go across different markets because you have that know-how is what I'm trying to impress upon the audience out there. It's like, you don't have to limit yourself to just I only bake apple pie.
Right.
No, you can bake other pies too because you know how to do it.
Yeah. And I think being multifaceted helps keep the followers' attention also.
Absolutely.
It's always something different. It doesn't get stale.
Something, like what's going on with LACEY, something different, Whether it's the powder coating on one end or, like you said, the modeling on the other, at least they're getting a good cross-section of like, well, what is LACEY BLAIR? And I think, by not overly cultivating what you do in your social media gives you believability and relatability. And again, that's one of the things I also want to impress upon, the people out there that are trying to build their social media, is like, just don't worry so much about just an overly produced, look, just be yourself. And you're,
for sure.
If you're a model, great. If you're a model, but you also are a dental surgeon, like our girl Rosie, or just show the world.
Yeah.
That kind of.
And I feel like it's easy. Like people now look at where I'm at now. I have Kiana that works full time with creating content with me, and they're like, "Oh, that's easier for you because you have all these professional pictures and you have help editing and all of that." And I didn't always have that, and I just feel like people. With things, you're not always going to be ready. Like you just need to do it with what you have and just start doing it and grow from there. And like I said, sometimes the most organic stuff does the best. So.
All right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. Any final comments or questions, Miss Blair? I just want to thank you for joining us. You are just an awesome lady. Thank you for
He only says that when the camera's rolling. It's fine.
Are we still on the record?
And that's a wrap.
And that's a wrap.